Welcome. This is the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter. This is our study group. Today is February 26th, 2026. And today we have the pleasure of having Rochelle Tan here. Rochelle's going to talk to us about bottlenecks to breakthroughs, how a problem-solving workshop unlocks sustainable improvement. Now I've got to move my screen here. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of this chapter. I'm the founder of the BA Force Multiplier Movement, one of the contributing authors to the Body of Knowledge, a couple of other books. I won the Volunteer of the Award for this region last year, but all of that is because I'm here to help you. That's what my whole purpose is. If you need help, please reach out to me. LinkedIn is the fastest way to reach me. Let me tell you about the IIBA. The IIBA is called the International Institute of Business Analysis. It has over 30,000 members, 120 chapters worldwide, over 1,500 volunteers, 500 partners worldwide. We wrote the body of knowledge to give us a standard to be able to use around the world for all business analysts. And we've got a great way of networking. So why would you join the IIBA? We've got professional development and related materials in all the chapters. We have 25,000 books for you, as well as videos and webinars available on the website. And all of that's free just by being a member. There's networking opportunities. You have access to all 120 chapters, and you get discounts on your global certification exams that are recognized throughout the world. The IIBA has recently improved a lot of their resources on their website. They also have something called a BABA Guide Technique Simulation, and they would love to get your feedback, so check it out. As I said, IIBA chapters are in major cities around the world. If there is not an active IIBA chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter, or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter, because our members are literally all around the globe. If you do not have an IIBA chapter, Tampa Bay can be your chapter. Our vision here at Tampa Bay IIBA is building a thriving community of empowered business analysts. So why would you choose this chapter? We offer multiple training sessions each week, including CBAP prep and coaching, and we have an acclaimed SDLC workshop, among other things. You can view our upcoming events here at our website, and we have everything posted here on LinkedIn. We have over 200 hours of material on YouTube, and if you want to get an index of it, go to rpchurchill.com, and you can see all of those events and just click directly into those. This chapter is run by this amazing group of people. These are our board of directors, the folks who work behind the scenes for your benefit. We do appreciate them working so diligently that they were able to win the 2025 Chapter of the Year Award for Professional Development. This is an award that's given to only one chapter out of all 120. We got that for 2025. We're aiming higher for 2026. I apologize. I stuck my picture right here in the middle of all these people's names, and that wasn't my intention to leave it there, but I'm going to tell you about all these people anyway. We have a brand new person, Aaron Olson, right here, has told us that because of us, he was able to get his certification. Here's a picture of Aaron. And last week we added Baker. His picture is right here. All these people have come back to us to tell us that our chapter is the reason that they were able to earn their certification. And so we really appreciate that. Speaking of earning certification, we do have a certification course going on right now that is just started. You can still join. We're not so far into it that you can't. And that is a 7-month weekly course. It's Thursday nights, starting right after this meeting. And that's from 8 to 9:30 p.m. However, that time doesn't work for everybody. So we started a second course. I'm going to be teaching this course on Saturday mornings, and it's going to be 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern time, and you can see it's that same time, but throughout the world. And Amarachi is going to be co-teaching with me, so I'm really looking forward to that. So with all of this activity, we have some partners and associations that we partner with. One of the most important partners we have is you, though. The partners, participants, and members of this organization. We couldn't do our work and benefit anybody if you don't show up. So please show up. We also have about 20 IIBA chapters around the world that we partner with, as well as 3 BA chapters that are in the process of becoming IIBA chapters. We have the DOBAC group out of the UK, which is a business analysis community, as well as 3 organizations in the Tampa Bay area that are adjacent to business analysis. And we have 4 recruiting companies that we partner with and 5 different training companies that we partner with. We also have this organization called Purdue University. You may have heard of it. We're partnering with them with their AI capstone master's degree program. And Esther, our vice president of training and development, has just given a speech to their students just recently. We're pretty proud of that. Those training companies give us discounts, and we can turn those discounts over to you. This is the first discount I want to tell you about. Watermark Learning gives us the training bank, which is practice test questions. I use this for all of my training, and they give us 40% off using this code right here. You can use it. Adaptive US also gives us 20% off of all of their courses that are on-demand courses, excluding the IIBA exam vouchers. They also have about 90 free items on their website. I encourage you to go check them out, but they give us 20% off. I mentioned a while ago that the CBAP study group is just started. If you're interested, you still can sign up. These are for people that want to get their CBAP in October, and we have about 4 spots available for that. I have talked to a lot of people about getting their BABOCs, and I don't care if you're in the CBAP group or not. If you're getting a BABOC, please be sure it's version 3. There's a lot of version 2s floating around out there. It's about half the size and not the right thing for you to be getting. Don't spend your time and effort on it. Next week, on March 5th, Ashley Snow is going to explore how business analysts and project managers can work together to balance speed and value by clearly decoupling solution and project domains. We're going to learn how to focus on the right scope and how it ensures teams not only deliver faster, but deliver outcomes that truly matter. I'm looking forward to that. The week after, on the 12th, Tamara Koppel is going to explore how business analysts can be scaled down for small businesses without losing impact. Learn how just enough analysis helps entrepreneurs and consultants make better decisions, avoid costly mistakes, and focus effort where it matters most. Looking into the future, April 23rd, the BA Life 2026 is in the UK. It's a virtual conference. I encourage you to consider it. On April 27th through 29th, our own Seamus and Bob are going to be at the Project Summit Business Analysis World in Orlando. This one is not virtual, it is in person. You can see people and see how tall they are and everything. And also on May 28th, the European BA Day is a virtual conference, and it's got some of the best speakers I've ever seen. So I encourage you to consider that one. Getting ideas from the other side of the planet might be a little bit different than the ideas that you've been hearing from your coworkers or the people in the next town over. So I've given you a lot of information about training. We have more training even on our website, tampabayiba.org, and we have our events page there. We also post our training on our LinkedIn page, Tampa Bay Chapter in Florida, USA. We put all of our YouTube recordings out on YouTube for everybody to see. We've had people tell us that they've been able to earn their CBAP by using our training there. And again, our training on YouTube, if you want an index of it, go to rpchurchill.com. Now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Rochelle and let her take it.
Thank you so much, Thea. I'm going to share my screen. So for folks on the call, I would like to ask you to join me in Kahoot. If you haven't played this game, it is very simple. But the way to join, you can scan the QR code that's shown on the screen. If you do have the app, you can just simply open the app, put the game pin number, or click the link that I put in the chat. Now, you can be anonymous. You don't have to use your real name in this game. this is a mix of, we're going to be doing some quiz questions, some polling. So I'd like to encourage everyone to please join me in this platform. So I see some folks joining us already. We have quite a few here. And you can even change your avatar if you want to, and accessorize it while we're waiting. You have time to do that. We have, I believe, 19 people on the call. So I should, oh, there's 20, not including myself. So should be seeing a lot more folks. If you're having challenges, do unmute, please unmute yourself and please share what challenges you're faced with. But if not, just here are the options to join. Either use this QR code, or if you have the app, or you can go to a browser and go kahoot.it, use this game pin number, or another option would be to go to this meeting chat. The link to join the Kahoot is indicated in there. Thank you, thank you. So we have 15. Are we still waiting for a few more? Or did we get everybody? Okay, we'll let folks join in if they want to catch up with us. But again, thank you for this opportunity. So the way Kahoot works, you gotta watch your device but I'll prompt you if there is a poll or a question. And so to join in, I'll be reading out the questions, which you will also see on your device, whether it's handheld or your laptop, desktop. And then there's options in there. I think I only have one where it's free form, but again, this is not a quiz. Quiz is not the CBAP certification test, so don't worry about it. The questions on the quiz are all part of the presentation as well. So simple enough, you should be able to join. So again, it'll be a mix of polling and quiz. For the quiz, just so you know, correct answers gets you points, but speed also matters, because even if you and another person got it right, but whoever got it right first gets a higher point than the other person. Okay, so let's get started. Great. So this is our presentation for today. It's going to load up real soon. So as Thea was mentioning, she mentioned, we're going to be talking about bottlenecks to breakthroughs, where I'll be sharing with you an actual use case that we did with BloomPath and our partner Kintone, and how we help an organization remove that bottleneck in order to create a more sustainable solution for them. So moving forward, let's do a practice round here. What is one repetitive admin task at work that, if automated, would change your life? So in the chat, you need to type in, what's one repetitive admin task at work that, if it was automated, would change your life? Whether you use agentic AI or you use some form of way to automate the work, what would that be? I see 3 answers coming in. You still have a few more seconds left, so please get your answers in. You got 3, 2, 1. Let's take a look. There's quite a few in here. Responding to alerts, logging in, timesheet. Oh yes, timesheets is always a challenging, right? For every single person. Notes, yep. Replying to emails, planning, all of this, right? And there's probably more out there that, if there was a way to automate them, it would be life-changing. Now, if that was the case, you'd be asking yourself, which one? Because there's so many of them. Before we get going, actually, I wanted to first introduce myself. That was just a quick warm-up for all of us. Again, my name is Rochelle Tan. I'm the founder and transformation leader of Articulate. I've started my career in a very technical space where, because of my computer science background, I was into antivirus, where I was an antivirus software engineer looking for unique signatures, reading down to the assembly language code. But I soon realized that, you know what? Although I love technology, I really love working with people on that than working by myself and reading through lines and lines of code. And so I quickly transitioned, got my MBA, still stayed in technology, but married it with business. So I nowadays I actually work with a lot of different people, different domains, looking for ways to leverage technology in order to accelerate the work that they're doing, simplify it, and helping them deliver great value to their customers through their products and or services. So check us out. We're articulate.com. This use case that I'm sharing with you, it was actually through a partnership that we did. So I was advising for an AI startup company, and I brought them together. I connected them with another company, a low code, no code solution named Kintone, who actually introduced us to a company, a nonprofit company based in the Washington state area. And I'll share a little bit more about that. But before I get too far ahead, I wanted to share with you how we're going to go about with today's presentation, where we start off with what problem we're trying to solve. We take a systems approach to addressing that. And because money or resources don't grow on trees, we have to have a way of narrowing things down, prioritizing, and I'm gonna be sharing a little bit about the Pareto principle and uh, and looking at how we measure those breakthroughs. Like, did we actually move the needle? Did we make an impact or not? And a little bit of next steps, just so you know what has occurred since then when we put this activity together with the client. So one thing I wanted to share about this use case, as I've said, it is a real life use case. We just went and deployed in production a few weeks ago, and our clients are so happy. You hear things like, "Oh, you've just made our dreams come true." I hate change, but I really like what I see. So these are things that that tells you, right? Although it's not the quantity, it's more of a qualitative feedback, but this tells you that, you've made an impact. But to get there, it's not as simple as, okay, let's talk to the client and then let's figure out, let's come up with some solution. It's a process to get to that. And there's different ways you can go about it. This is one way, which is what I'm going to be showing to you. The other thing I wanted to share as well, let me just share this. So today we're going to be looking at how we help this organization find that opportunity because there's so many problems that they're trying, so many bottlenecks in there, but how do you really narrow it down and what process, what system, what approach did we take in order to get to that solution? And how did we ensure that the solution we selected was actually making an impact and that it's scalable and it can evolve for them over time as the business evolves. So going back, let me just give you a little bit more information about this company. So this company it does a lot of things for the community, but one of the key things in this area of the company or a program that we work with in that organization is responsible in giving health support to people living in very remote places in their area. So you guys have probably heard about some similar services like in the private sector. It's usually referred to as like home health, where people with either with medical or non-medical background goes and helps people at their homes. In this case, this program has case managers. So these case managers, they go and help these people, these members or patients, in everything that they need in terms of wellness, keeping healthy or recovering, or even getting treatment. So from the moment of identifying, helping them figure out if they need some sort of help, all the way to sending them either to the hospital and even to the point of submitting claims, insurance claims on the client's behalf, because most of these people either are elderly and may even, they either don't have access to internet or have challenges doing that, and they usually live alone. And as I've said, they live in very remote areas of in the Washington state area. So if you were a case manager, just imagine you're responsible for so many different things. You are responsible for So one person could be responsible for, say, 30 to 50 members. They have to meet with them in that every month, fulfill, find out what needs they have. At the same time, there's all these regulatory bodies that require them to fulfill other things. On top of that, they also have to keep upgrading themselves and keep themselves up to date with any changes, right? Regulatory changes in terms of HIPAA, in terms of the different policies and regulations in helping people with health needs or medical needs. And also the insurance is also another thing. If you can imagine, like every person has different types of insurance, maybe different providers. And even if they have the same providers, they could have different coverage. So it's a myriad of different things, different challenges that people are having to deal with. On top of that, they have to keep good documentation in order to manage the work and to ensure continuity, right? Because if you imagine, if you say you have like even just 30 people, 30 members you have to handle, you meet with this one person, maybe you meet 2, 3 people in a day. The next day you meet another person or two, you call, some you visit. By the end of the week, to try and remember what you discuss, what are the things you need to do, or right, what are the next steps maybe for person one that you met in day one, considering all these people that you've already met, it's very challenging. And so good note taking is important. And notes is not just for that purpose. It's actually affecting revenue as well. Because if you don't have the proper description, or if you didn't write it in a certain way that the insurance requires, and people who are insurance, I'm sure you know this, your claim could get rejected, right? And so that affects everyone. The company that's helping this, even it's nonprofit, they do need some revenue, and the people who are, needing the help. If they don't have that much income in a month, it's really budgeted. And if you don't get paid for, big medical expenses that you just incurred, then it affects your budget for the next month, the following month. So again, for folks in the Kahoot, let's do a quick poll here. So which bottleneck do you think is the most time consuming from the activities that I've just described to you for this organization? They have caseloads they have to handle, maybe some rework, there's reporting, could be documentation rework. There's no wrong answer here. So just polling to see what the thoughts are. Yeah, I see some answers coming in. Yep. Also, it is time. There is a time limit as well, just for, to get us moving forward. But I think it's a little bit balanced between regulatory reporting claims. That's so true. They are very much affected by this. There's also documentation rework, yes, and the caseload. But in working with the client, we actually narrow it down and said, hey, we can't boil the ocean, but we have to look at one of the biggest problems you have. So it boiled down to 3. This was one of them. And so if you think about this, you're a care manager or a case manager. You need to take care and help, between 30 to 50 members a month. If it's averaging 3.5 hours per visit, that includes prepping. Like I need to know what I need to do, right, before I meet with that person. I need to drive. Sometimes these people, as I've said, they live in very remote places. You need to drive an hour, right? An hour going, an hour back, do the visit. And then you have to put the notes together before you even go to the next one. Or maybe you hold it off, you meet everybody, and then once you get back to the office or you just go home, you do a little bit of, recapping that visit before you do your house chores. So it's just a lot. So thinking about this, oh, and I wanted to ask everyone, if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. Or if you have questions, you can, if you're not comfortable doing that, you can use the chat. But let's do a little bit of math here, guys. Let's take a look. Short quiz here. So if an average of 3.5 hours, right? A visit takes about 3.5 hours. How long do you think it takes for case managers to complete 50 member visits in a month? So quick math here. 3.5 hours, 50 members in a month. So how much time does it actually take to do that? Is it 150? Is it 175, 200, 160? I got 10, 11 answers. We got a little bit more time waiting for other folks to get their answers. Yes, okay. So yeah, it's actually 175 hours. But normally, what is the working hours in a month? Like on average for most companies?
It's
What?
not 175.
No, it's not, right? So imagine usually it's about 38, 37 and a half, I think was the shortest one I've seen, unless some people do like part-time work, but let's just say full-time work, 38 to 40 hours a month. Let's just say 40, right? In a month, that aggregates to 160. Where are they taking, where are they going to take that 15 hours from? Usually it's, at home, right? When you get home, or maybe you go into the office early enough before everyone starts coming in order for you to get caught up with work. And that's very challenging. So for this organization, it's not just about the caseload. Sometimes and oftentimes, what's also frustrating is retention.
Mhm.
And do you guys, okay, I think people, so Thea, you want to take a guess of why retention is a challenge with this situation?
Because they burn out.
Exactly. Yep. Simple enough, right? Like, I'm already, I have this caseload, and even if you do a lot, like you do extra stuff, you can only do it for so long. And at the same time, people need a sense of fulfillment as well. But if every month you feel like you're not completing the work, that really brings the morale down as well. There was some incidents as well where, so usually it takes them a month to train on average a new person coming in to become a care manager. And they've had instances where on day one, when this person, after doing the 1 month training, they come in and take their caseloads and start working on it. And they just say, sorry, I can't do this. And they leave. Just imagine the amount of investment that the company has made, right? They bring in people because they need help, only to lose them after training them. So, oh, actually, let's do this. Oh, okay. So we do have a scoreboard here. I know this is a friendly competition that we're doing right here, but I see the scores are very tight. Okay, let's keep going. So we said, hey, you know what? We're going to help you. And so I drew my experience from, being a business analyst, doing a lot of collaboration, elicitation work with clients, and working on, agile waterfall space, and put that all together and said, you know what? We got to work with this organization. This is a great use case. But at the same time, we have to take note of a few things. We have to meet them where they're at. So for your clients, it's the same thing, right? You don't come in thinking like, oh, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to re-engineer everything. Everything's going to be brand new. More, yes, it sounds great, like bright, shiny new thing, but that's going to be too disruptive for the organization. Normally, you gotta, take a step back, take a brief look as well of where things are at right now. What is the current state, right? Does it really worth a re-engineering process, or is there anything that's already working, right? Maybe we don't have to change everything. But in everything you do, you have to take a systems approach, which is an end-to-end approach to innovation. You can't just tackle one thing, because usually when you see problems, the first thing you notice, and just like when people get sick, right? What is the first thing that you see? It's symptoms. You don't necessarily see the root cause yet. And then in putting your solution together, you got to look at the value, because, yeah, there may be some problems that you can solve, but does it really drive impact? Does it save us money? Does it save us time? Or does it help us earn revenue? We got to be realistic about it. And last but not the least is when you do something, yes, you take iterative approach. Some people, they say, oh, let's start with the MVP. That's great. And that's not a problem at all. But you always have to have a plan, long-term plan, right? Don't stay in your pilot or do that band-aid solution. You got to look at the long term, like how do we make this sustainable? So that was the approach that we took with this organization. So as I said, you can take different approaches, but what I'm sharing with you is the approach that we took with this organization, with this actual use case, starting with a problem solving workshop. And I'll share with you what we did during that time. Just take note, I'm going to do a disclaimer here. Given the time that we have, this is not a training to give you like step by step and run through all the mechanics of each of the chevrons that you see here. Rather, I'm going to be giving you overviews of, what this entails, what a problem solving workshop entails, and how that feeds into a value stream mapping. What are the things you can do in a value stream mapping? But the good news is I do have some outline or templates that you can take with you, and you will get a copy of this deck, so you can always use that. As I've said earlier, you do all this analysis, you do this collaboration discovery work with the client, but you always have to remember that prioritization is essential. You have to be relentless about it. It's like cutting your rose shrubs. Anyone here who takes care of roses? Anyone in the call?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you take care of a rose shrub?
Carefully.
Yeah, carefully, but how do you cut them, right? Before
They have thorns. They bite back.
yeah,
Mm.
that's right.
And then you have to prune them and feed them and care for them, and then they give you one little flower, and you hope that it's worth it. Yeah, you take care of it carefully.
Yeah, but you have to cut all of them, right? Like you prepare
Yes.
them for the season. Yeah, so that's how you should do your prioritization as well. You have to be relentless about it. Because just imagine yourself, like if you were using your own money to fund this endeavor, what would you do? What decisions would you make? And last but not the least is the implementation, because we don't just talk about it, we actually do something about it. So let's just take a look at that, how this process works. Okay, so starting off with problem, was there a question? I did not, at the hospital. Okay, there was a, thank you for the feedback. This app sounding very much like what a case manager. Yes, actually, it's very true. A lot of companies, healthcare, so hospitals or anyone who takes care of patients even outside the hospital, it's the workflow is very connected or very similar. Not may not be exactly the same, but definitely there's a lot of overlap. So let's go with the problem solving workshop. So with the problem solving workshop, it's imagine like you're the doctor and you have a patient coming in. And so the patient comes, maybe there's a child, right? They're sick and they have a fever. But often, as we know, right? Often, if not always, like the fever is just a symptom. There's something going on in the person's or in the child's body. That's why they have a fever. So the approach that we take in problem solving is very similar. We don't just take this initial statement of what the problem is. Maybe in this case, the care manager would say, excuse me, I'm just too busy. Well, why are you too busy, right? So we can use tools like the Ishikawa diagram, or what we also call as the fishbone diagram, where we write a problem that we see. It could be a symptom, doesn't matter. Just start somewhere. Take that information and then create different dimensions. Usually we start off, if you're not sure where to begin, you can do like people, process, and tools. Just list that down in there. You can get more specific as you work through the information. But as you're going through it, so maybe the problem that was brought up was, I'm just too busy, got too much caseload. Why is that? On a people perspective, well, I'm only one person, I don't get help. Well, why do you not get help? So you go through that thought process, which is what we call the 5 whys. They said on average, right? Sometimes you could go up to three whys. Sometimes you could go a little bit more than 5, but usually 5 is pretty good, where you start off with an idea and then you keep drilling down, and that leads you to the root cause of the problem. Because just like an illness, we don't want to fix or cure the symptom. We want to find out what's really happening. Like Is it because of a sore throat? Is it because of an infection, an internal infection that's going on? That's why the person has a fever, right? And on top of a cough, like what's causing the cough? So those type of things you have to find out. So you treat the organization like a patient or the problem, and then you drill down. When I do this, there's different approaches to doing this. Some, if you have the time and the luxury, go ahead and find different dimension, drill down on all of them. But in some cases, maybe it doesn't need to be 5 whys on all areas. So I'm just telling you the actual application of it. If you read textbooks, they'll tell you every dimension has to go through the 5 whys. But you have to balance that out with your situation. Anyone here who's used the Ishikawa diagram in the past? Yes, yes, I see some nods.
Yes,
Great.
wishbone diagram is
Mhm.
another term for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Great. So this is an opportunity as well. If you guys joined the design thinking uh, presentation I did, this is also a great way to do that divergent convergent thinking, because initially there's so many problems that people bring in. To narrow it down, from divergent ideas to something that you guys can converge, have a common understanding, and collaborate to get to that common understanding. This is a great tool to use. And what you might end up doing is you might change the problem statement after that based on what you've discovered. Okay, there's going to be another quiz. Watch out, guys. Next one, be ready. In a problem-solving workshop, the root cause of the problem is determined by blank. Is it asking participants to suggest their ideal root cause? Or is it consulting with the CEO of the company? Or is it delving into the 5 whys of every dimension? Or none of the above? It's not listed in here. We don't know. I'm not so sure. So in a problem-solving workshop, the root cause of the problem is determined by, okay, I see we got almost everyone in now. Still waiting a few more folks. Time's up. Yes, so the answer is the 5 whys. And so Ishikawa diagram is not the only tool. If you have collaboration tools that you're using, so I tend to favor Mural just because I'm very comfortable. Some companies, they use Miro. There's even Whiteboard. There's so many now, Lucid and so forth. You can actually use some of the templates, predefined templates in there. It doesn't need to look like the Ishikawa diagram. Okay, let's take a look. Ooh, our board has changed. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing, if I mispronounce your name, Carithwin? Followed by Thea, name, Vivian, and T.
Close
Ooh,
enough.
nice.
I'm being an alter ego tonight.
Oh, there you go. Okay, great. Thank you. So don't worry, we still have more questions to go, but let's keep going. So as I mentioned in the chevron, from the problem-solving workshop, we derived the problem that we said we would solve. But you know what? One statement does not give us all the information. And so we said, you know what? We need to know more of what really happens with the caseloads. And how do you really manage the care for the person from the time you start, you initiate, you opt them in, all the way to fulfilling their needs and filing the claim. And so we use the value stream mapping. This is not something I invented. There's so many information out there as well to teach you how to use value stream map, but it's also helpful to have somebody who's already done it in the past to guide you in that process. So I'm giving you a template here that you can use. So these are the sections or information that you'll be gathering. This is a format of how you would put together a process. As you can see, this is not the same thing as a guide or a manual. Although it's called steps, it is not like the micro steps that you take. It's big bodies of work. Like in this case, you say complete your loan application if this was a banking use case. And so completing a loan contains a lot of different steps, right? It includes maybe you get a paper form, or maybe it's electronic. You fill out the information, you verify it. There's so many things that goes into completing a loan application. So in this case, we don't care about that detail. We care about the overall. So that's what the step means. And you could choose like a team, a person, or a system. to indicate in here time, how long it takes, and wait time. Anyone here knows what the difference between duration and wait time here? So from one step to another, what does time versus and duration versus wait time?
Would duration be the time that you're actively doing the work versus wait time being the time that you have to pause in between, either wait for a response or wait for like a specific date to be in action again?
That's right. No, very well said, Tamara. Thank you so much. So this is actually the time. So this is like transaction time where you're actively working on it. And wait time is a myriad of things, which is I could be waiting. So in this case, once you submit, there maybe you can't submit yet, right? There's something you need to wait on, maybe another person to verify or what have you. Or sometimes when it's like software development from developer to say QA, right? And then the QA can't work on it yet because they're also waiting for the environment to be up. So those wait times are the ones where we usually consider, and if you aggregate them, those are the ones that become the bottleneck oftentimes. The duration, it's easier to address them, tackle them, because you can adjust the things that you're doing. Usually the wait time, the only way to address it, or usually the ones who have control over it, is not you, right? It's someone else. That's why you have to wait for it. So it becomes really challenging. And so that was one of the key things that we looked at when we were doing value stream mapping, which are the steps that really eats up a lot of the care manager's time, because that's what we need to address. Excuse me. Okay, so we said from that exercise, it was like a really long thing. We did a hybrid one. We had people in person, we had people on the call, but we made it work. But the great thing about that is you got people saying like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize it took us that long, right? To complete a claim or to complete a prep plan. Like this is taking, or some people said, you know what? I actually use some of my time, like before the kids come home or before I put the kids to bed, to actually put my notes together. It's like very a great revelation, especially for people in the room, because you got a mix of management and the people who are down on the ground doing the work, to realize that what, these are really big issues here, and so we got to do something. And so one thing to help with narrowing things down is the Pareto principle. A lot of you might have already heard about this. Some people call it the 80-20 rule, where you try to so they said most issues, right, are actually caused by 20% of the things that we're doing. On another perspective, you can also think about, if we just address 20% of the problems, normally we would end up addressing we would normally address 80% of the issues that we're experiencing right now. So minimal effort, but we're driving big impact. Because as I've said, in an operation, there's so many things you can do, but trying to do them all at once, you might end up not fixing anything. Okay, ready for the next quiz. Everyone, watch your devices. Which statement best describes the Pareto principle? Is it effort and result always increase in equal proportion, or the average outcome is the best predictor of future performance, or success is primarily determined by chance rather than controllable factors, or most results come from small number of causes? That was just the previous slide. There you go. Yes. So it's an 80-20 rule, right? Usually like this 20% of the situation actually affects a big, like usually the 80% of the issues that we're experiencing. So last but not the least is the implementation and measurement. So in everything that we do, in anything that you do, try to do a balance of qualitative and quantitative measures. If you cannot measure the value of any solution or endeavor that you're pursuing, you might want to take a step back and ask yourself, is it even worth doing? Because if you're not saving money, if you're not saving time, you're not increasing productivity, then why do we even bother doing it? So those are very important and key questions. So for us, we work with external clients. They have to pay for our service. And so we're very particular that, the client sees value. But even if you're saying, your client is internal, you might be saying, oh, we don't really spend extra money because it's already in the budget. But still, you could spend, if you save more money, if you're more efficient, if you improve productivity, wouldn't your money be better spent elsewhere in doing other things rather than doing rework or workarounds all the time, right? And so maybe you invest a little bit of time in the beginning, but if you gain all these improvements where now instead of 2 to 3 cases a day, you can do 5, hey, why not? Or reduce your rework, right? Improve it. That this improvement from the client right now is key because it it really eases the work for the care managers and also affects the billing for them, which is great. And so, last but not the least, as I've mentioned, also increases retention. If people are happy because they can do their work faster, they feel fulfilled, then they will stay with the company and grow in there. Why is there feedback?
That's true, but sometimes they just keep piling on. You got more free time now. Let's give you more.
I know it's very hard, but the reality of the world today as well, if you think about it, is companies do ask for more with less, right? There's a lot of cost cutting happening, headcount reduction, but they still ask for the same level of productivity or output from the teams. And so it's very important to keep thinking about what else can we do? How can we make things better, easier, faster if we can leverage technology? But thanks for the feedback. So as I've said, I will share with you a little bit about this use case. It is an AI solution that we've implemented. What I wanted to share, that the reason why I wanted to share this particular workflow with you or technique is that I've been using this technique even before the advent of building AI or agentic AI solution, because bottom line, whether it's AI based solution or something else, you need to understand what problem you're trying to solve and figure out if there is value in doing that. What does that give us, right? What do I get out of it? What does the customer get out of it? So in this case, what I wanted to share with you briefly is what the care managers used to do and how the AI solution that we incorporated into their existing solution really helped. So the case manager or the prep plan, this is the prep plan that they're doing right here. We automated that work. So in the past, what the care managers used to do, they would go in here, find, oh, I gotta meet Sarah Johnson. I gotta know what I did with Sarah Johnson. Who is Sarah Johnson? I gotta look at all the different entries from months before or maybe weeks ago to figure out what we've already done, who Sarah Johnson is. It takes the experts in the organization probably takes them about 30 minutes. But that's the shortest, between 30 minutes sometimes to 2 hours just to prepare for a person. And just imagine if that person is away on vacation, somebody has to cover them, it even becomes more challenging for the new person who's covering to figure this out. So we said, you know what? AI is really good in these things, right? Documentation heavy, highly regulated stuff, things that change. And, our human brains, although, we have the capacity to learn, but it's really hard to go through like a 200-page Molina, care or Molina insurance document to remember or even figure out where in that 200-page document should I be looking at for what I need for Sarah Johnson. And so this is something that was, very big, really a pain for a lot of them. But because of that discovery and that journey that we did with the customers, now we realize what is most important. So they come in here, we did not change their workflow. They still do exactly what they're doing, except instead of them manually putting together the plan, maybe writing it down on a pad or typing it up on a Word document, they simply click this, prepare for an upcoming visit. And in less than a minute, I'll share with you what it looks like. Now the solution, so BloomPath AI comes in and tells the care manager and said, oh, you're meeting with Sarah Johnson. This is the purpose of your visit, because I know Sarah Johnson. This is Sarah Johnson's short-term goal and her long-term goals. This is what you've already done with Sarah Johnson here. These are the things you need to follow up with her. These are the things you need to do. And a checklist, I can't share with you, unfortunately, with all the details, but I'm just giving you an idea of what the actual solution is. But it tells the person, the care manager, exactly what to discuss, the steps. If there's any documentation they need to bring with them because it's due for review or assessment, it also spits it out for them. And they can quickly go through it. And if they're satisfied, they click print. And that's it. They take that piece of paper or maybe 2 sheets of paper at most, bring it with them. The other thing, oh, sorry, was there a question? Okay. The added bonus here is that we even added some conversation starter. So on top of knowing what health condition Sarah has, what her short-term, long-term goals are, she also needs to, it's good to understand who Sarah Johnson is. So knowing that Sarah Johnson is, has a pet, she loves gardening. She also has a daughter, just went to college. It's always great to connect, right, with the patient, because that's how you help them become more comfortable. They'll open up to you, and then they'll be more comfortable in sharing, their situation, whatever, if they need help, or in managing that relationship for their long-term care. So as I've said, very simple. It's, it's a long process. I know it's easier said than done, but there are tools out there that can help you connect with people, connect with the organization, unravel all these bottlenecks, all these challenges that the organization is faced with. What's important is you have a common understanding that, hey, we can't just solve and try to create a solution immediately from what we see. We have to be sure that we've drilled down and figured out what is the root cause of a problem. And we take a systems approach. We don't just tackle, one aspect of the workflow or the operational activities that we're trying to address, or maybe other activities. We have to look at it end to end so that the solutions that we come up with would be sustainable, they can be scaled, and that it really drives impact. And creating metrics and measurement becomes a lot easier. Question: what were some of the risks of using an AI solution and the mitigation? Great question. So BloomPath actually prides itself of what it calls BloomPath in a box, which really addresses a lot of the security concerns that customers have. So we actually take a version of BloomPath along with the RAG in there, the vector databases, and we take, basically, it's like buying, sort of like TurboTax, right, in the past, where you take TurboTax, you bring it, you install it in your own environment, and nobody can take information. It just consumes your own information. So very similar in here is we don't, even us as a company like BloomPath, does not have access to this client's information through the AI. All the data resides and stays in the instance of the client's environment. And we refuse actually to take their information, because that's not how we want to do this. On top of that, the AI that we have only trains with data within the organization. It's not like a Google that goes to the internet and consumes data and tells you what it is, or nor does it push data into the internet. But we do train it where we keep feeding it new information. So any regulatory information, those are screened, and then those are the only ones that gets pulled from online of where the actual source is. so that, as Molina or United, as those policies change, they get fed with, the AI gets fed with up-to-date information. Okay, so that's actually the end of the presentation. And if you have other questions, I'm more than happy to have, a dialogue, address any questions that you have, whether it's the AI solution or how do I even do problem solving workshop? What are the things out there? Can you point me to the tools out there? Feel free to reach out to me. You can use this QR code. Just like Thea, I'm very active in LinkedIn as well. So you can reach out to me in LinkedIn or you can send an email. More than happy to connect. Before I let you go, actually, I wanted to, since we have a captured audience here, I'm going to take advantage. Let's do a little bit of Q&A. I think we have a little bit of time. But I also would like to ask, if you can, please share a little bit of insight based on what you've heard or seen today. Anything that would help improve this content or this presentation would be much appreciated.
We have two questions, one from Tamara and one from Vivian. Tamara,
Yes.
would you like to go first?
Sorry, that was an accident. I apologize.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Vivian? Vivian tapped in, did you use spaghetti maps to complement your time study?
Spaghetti maps. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with spaghetti maps, but if you could elaborate. So I guess the short answer is we do not use spaghetti maps, but what do you mean by that?
Well, if there's a human movement or material movement, a spaghetti map is something that you use to track that. It's like a GPS, so to speak.
No, we did not have the luxury of using a tool such as that. But for the value stream mapping, what we did was we split it up into different groups where, people who have specialization in certain aspects of the workflow, we had them document what they actually do. And on top of that, we brought in the actual care managers to validate and say, is this what really happens? And to give you an example of what could put the risk of not including people or taking a systems approach, initially, the original plan was was to get rid of like an offline system that they were using, thinking that, oh, if we just have everything in one place, then we would be faster. But when we brought in the, some other care managers into the conversation, and we looked at their end-to-end flow, it was actually discovered that there's a lot of information that the current system cannot accommodate. That's why they leverage those extra, those other systems. So, you got to be careful with all these things that occur. A tool like what you've mentioned, Vivian, would probably be helpful, right? Because you can see like where people really go and you can track their digital footprint in there. But thank you for sharing that. There is another question. What is a general rule or principle to have when approaching AI requirements and solutions to a problem? Are you asking, just to clarify, I'm making an assumption here. Are you asking like how to put together the problem solving workshop, or just how to start that conversation? Naomi,
To start.
To start. So yeah, it really depends. So I'm giving you a consultant answer. It really depends. But there are many things you can approach it with. Usually there's like a SME or a subject matter expert that brings up an issue to say, hey, there's something wrong here, or maybe we can leverage AI. Or sometimes, management, they have a friend who has an AI startup. They come in and say, hey, why don't you talk to my friend here? Not the ideal scenario, but I'm sharing this with you because usually doing some Q&A work, interviews would really help explore, identifying key stakeholders who will be affected or are currently affected by the potential problems or symptoms that I've identified is also a good place to start. That's how we do it, even for us, because as external consultants, it's harder even because, you don't have direct access to stakeholders. So you got to work with your contact, your champions. And then from there, Oh, thank you so much for your feedback. And then from there, you go and work with them to identify even more. So telling them that, we're going to do a discovery workshop, not necessarily the problem solving workshop would help. Be very clear what you want to achieve. Then you can find the right stakeholders to attend your session. And if not, you iterate, right? Like we still need this other person. We realize it during the call. Then, you do another one. You iterate on that. I hope that helps. But if you have a specific scenario, feel free to bring it up. We'd love to address it. Another
I,
one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm curious about the accuracy of the AI initially, and also, is there a mechanism in which you audit those results for improvements?
No, great question. So bias and hallucination is always scary, right? It's a reality, especially for LLM solution. So that's one of the key reasons why we restrict the AI from going out and pulling information from the internet. And we also train the AI so that if the information is not available and it doesn't know the answer, that it should say it. So that's the problem sometimes with a lot of this, more commercially available AI tools, is that because they're trying to fulfill and solve everyone's problem, it's very generic, and it trains from a myriad of information, that it tends to and prone to hallucination. So controlling the information that it feeds into also helps. So it's like training a child, where you feed it good things, the right things, then that's what they learn, right? They may have some tendencies to learn from other things, but if you say this is what's right, and you only do it, and if you don't know, you say don't know. You don't have to have an answer all the time. So that's how we kind of control that. The intricacy, there is a architecture incorporated into it to help control that. So RAG is one of the main reasons that we can control and create the right context or corpus for our solution. If you want to learn more about architecture, feel free to hit me up offline. I don't want to dive too deep into it because it might not be of interest to everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got our study group coming up, so
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you short, but yeah, actually, Thea had to leave and go to that. So,
if you got, can we answer one more, or are we good? There's one more though.
sure, one more. I'm staying on, so
Okay.
one more is fine.
How do you measure success? Do you use VSM after implementing? So, not so much on VSM, but it really varies. So I look at it usually based on the domain and the group that we work with, because with the when you say VSM, I'm assuming is it the value management that you're talking about? That's what I'm assuming you mean by this VSM abbreviation that you've used, Marcella.
Yeah, value stream mapping.
So in value stream mapping, it's more of time, right? That's why you have the duration and the handoffs. So if you'll get a copy of the deck, but I did put in the actual metrics that we use, but the 5 caseloads per day also incorporates the time it takes to do the prep plan and the visit. That's why we're confident to say now you can actually do 5, right? Instead of 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 per day.
Yes, I mean, you did measure at the beginning, but after you implemented the solution, do you measure that at the end?
Oh, for sure. Like you can see from, what it took them to do, how long it took them to do the work. Now, because we check with them every week, we do a checkpoint and they show us what they do. They click the button and the visit summary is there in less than a minute. It's ready. The driving we cannot control because it's the distance, right? But the prep work is within our control. The other thing that I did not show because I knew we wouldn't have time is the note taking as well. So another solution that we've incorporated in there is, instead of people typing in their work, we actually consume audio, transcribe audio, even handwritten notes, and if they type them in, they can feed it into BloomPath. BloomPath will tell them the scoring, like is it a good note, bad note, what can be improved, and then they can ask BloomPath to help improve it so that it's formatted and the content is arranged in a way that's ready for reporting, for billing, and so forth. And so it really, you can easily measure how long it used to take to type in and fill in every single text box in the screen versus I click, check my score. After that, I click update my notes, and then I say generate, and then it just feeds it into the system. Yeah, so we did measure them from before and after, and mostly on time. We haven't gotten to the onboarding retention yet. That's a little bit challenging, right? That will take time. Yeah. Okay, was there any other question?
No, and thank you, Rochelle. I know we stayed over a little bit.
No
But,
worries. No.
I got to close this out because the study group's going on.
I understand. No. So, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you
Thank
guys
you.
later.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.